Hey guys, hello Bella, and in this video I'm going to be talking about how you can safely access an abortion in the state of Alabama. So in June of 2022, last year, Roe v. Wade was overturned by the Supreme Court, making states able to ban abortion. And since we live in a red state, Alabama did ban abortion. There were only 3 abortion clinics in Alabama prior to that. Now it is illegal to give any medical abortions or surgical abortions. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how to go about ordering pills for a medical abortion, which is an abortion that you can have up to 11 weeks. One of the reasons that I wanted to cover this topic was because I am very much a liberal feminist living in a red state, and I know that there's not a lot of us, and it's not something that's talked about. There's a lot of shame and stigma surrounding abortion, and I think that if this video helps one person, then it's worth it to me to stir the pot and to give you guys access to this information. This information has all been vetted. This is safe websites. This is not, they're not going to direct you to a clinic where they're going to tell you that you should keep your baby, nothing like that. The reason that I want to tell you guys about this is that there's a lot of misinformation surrounding what a medical abortion is and how late that you can have one. So we're going to be covering a couple different websites and talking about how you can have the pills mailed to you. So the first website that I'm going to tell you about is the website called Plan C. You're going to go to plancpills.org. This is a website that tells you the different ways that you can get abortion pills by mail. And I just want to clarify that a medical abortion is an abortion that you do at home. You do not need a physician. You do not need a follow-up appointment. You will pass the pregnancy at home. There are some painful side effects, and there are some issues that you should look into before you consider that. But it is something that you can do on your own. The cost of this is around $50 to $150 if you go through this website. So we're going to go ahead and click where people get pills. Okay, so from here, you're going to find out the different ways that you can get the pills. So you can go through an online clinic where you will actually have support from a clinician. Now, if money is not an issue for you, this is a good way to go. I think that the time frame is something that you need to consider because these pills only work when you're up to 11 weeks pregnant. So that's 11 weeks from the day of your last period. And you'll also need to consider the time that it takes for them to come in the mail. So if it takes a week for them to come in the mail and you're already at 10 weeks, you're pushing the envelope there. So online clinics that mail pills, and then websites that sell pills, which there's going to be a potential risk of, is the state of Alabama eventually going to start, cracking down on that? We do not know, but the pills are delivered in a way that it's impossible to really see what it is unless somebody opens up the mail. So if you're not able to afford that other appointment, you can't pay the $150, you can only pay the $42. This might be the option for you. And then there's also a way to get pills through community networks. These are basically volunteers who do mail forwarding or they mail it to you. And so there's a couple of different options there. And then there's also going to be in-person clinics. So the thing about in-person clinics is this is going to be the only way that you can really go once your pregnancy gets past the 11-week mark, I believe. I'm not sure how exactly effective. Some people say that the pills work up to 13 weeks, but I think you need to consider in-person clinics if possible if you're past that 11-week mark. That's going to be in the surgical abortion categories. And I will cover that if there's enough interest in this video. But what I want to focus on today is the online clinics that mail pills and the websites that sell the pills. So first, let's take a look at the online clinics that mail the pills. So the first thing you're going to see is they have a lot of frequently asked questions that are covered, but we're going to go and look at a website called Aid Access. So Aid Access is incredibly famous. It's very well known and legitimate. We're going to go ahead and click here. Aid Access is a way for you to consult with a physician and get the pill mailed to you for $150. So basically, you can go over to their frequently asked questions. They're going to tell you how to use the pill, how quickly that you get it, and is it safe. And one thing that I think you should know about medical abortions is that it does not affect your fertility later on in life. That's not something that, a lot of people spread that as misinformation, saying, oh, you won't be able to have a healthy pregnancy later on. But that is not true at all for the case of the medical abortion. So they're going to recommend that you take a pregnancy test and then you check how long it was from the first day of your last period, and that you make sure that you do not have an IUD in place, a long-term treatment with steroids such as nasal, inhaled, or topical steroids, an ectopic pregnancy, or a bleeding problem or treatment with a blood thinner. Aspirin is okay. So you're going to take the pills. You take 1 and then you take 4. So there are more in-depth guides of how to take this. There are some great videos on YouTube of doctors telling you exactly how to do it. But the point of this video is really to cover how to get the medication, not necessarily about how to take the medication. So aid access is one that I would definitely recommend. I've seen a lot of people on Reddit post that they got the medication within like 5 days. So I think that it is a very reasonable priced option. So on top of aid access, there's another one called Cambridge Reproductive Health. That one is $100 more. So I'm thinking, for the most part, most people will probably rely on aid access to go through one where they speak with a physician. So if you go to their abortion questions and answers, you can see a lot about what is a medical abortion and how it works, how you'll feel during the process and afterwards. And you can also start your consultation here. So if you click this, you're going to see that shipping is available for all 50 states. So while abortions can't be performed in Alabama, you can still access an abortion. A lot of people want you to think that you can't. You absolutely can still have an abortion in Alabama. You just have to go through a different channel to access the medication. So once you click here, you'll say, I have enough to cover my own abortion. You'll click, yes, I need an abortion. And then you can click, I took a pregnancy test. And then you can click, the test was positive. Normally my period is regular, and then you'll put in whatever month that you think you missed your period. Let's just say, for the sake of it, we'll say the 15th, and it would say you are 8 weeks and 5 days pregnant. So at that point, you'll say how long you've been pregnant, and for us, it's going to be 3 to 12 weeks. And then basically the way that you take the pills depends on how far along you are. It says it's very safe to have an abortion with pills at home through 12 weeks of pregnancy, as long as you follow the right instructions and have access to medical attention in case of a rare complication. Another thing that I want to point out is that an abortion and a miscarriage look the same medically. So if you need to go to the emergency room after you take the pill, please do not hesitate to do that. If you feel like something's off or something's wrong, you can seek treatment. You do not need to tell them that you took an abortion pill. Honestly, there's too much risk. There's too much at stake. And the way that our laws are kind of going in this state, it's very scary to think that someone could potentially face criminal charges for having an abortion, but that is where we're at with the state of Alabama. And I live here, so I know how it is and how, you want to be able to trust your medical provider. But honestly, the less information that you tell them, the better in terms of this. And another thing is, like, you don't owe anyone an explanation in your life. You do not need to tell anyone. You do not need to tell your family, the father of the baby. If you want this to be a totally private experience, I think that you should not worry about getting other people involved. If you have a trusted friend who can take care of you during this process, I think that's the way to go. The less people you involve, the less that you risk being in some kind of, dilemma later on if people want to share their opinions and their opinion doesn't agree with you. I think it's best to keep this as private as possible if you live in the state of Alabama. Okay, so let's go ahead and click next. We're going to say that we're older than 16. No, the pregnancy is not a result of our word. I'm comfortable with my decision. I'm sure nobody is forcing me. Are you able to get to a facility that can provide basic medical care in 60 minutes or less? Yes, I am. There will be someone with me during the treatment. No, I do not have an IUD. No, I've never had an ectopic. No, I do not have an STI. I don't have an allergy. No, 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 no. 0. Okay, so this is what you're going to have to fill out for aid access. You're going to have to give them your name, your birth date, the country, your address, and all of this information. So after that, you're going to probably be prompted to go to a couple more screens, but I just wanted to walk through this with you guys so that you could see what it actually looks like. I am not affiliated with any of these people or any of these websites, but I just know that this is the most legitimate way that most people online post about going to access abortion medication, especially when they're coming from a red state. So if you go onto Reddit, there is a subreddit called abortion. And if you're wondering about different types of abortions or different processes, you can definitely check out that. Another website that I want to recommend to you is called ineedana.com. You're just going to put in your location. So we're going to put in Florence, Alabama. And then we're going to say, once again, we'll say September 15th was the day of the last period that we had. Okay, we're going to put we're over 18, and then we're going to see here what are the options for us getting an abortion in the state of Alabama. So if you need to go to a clinic, meaning that you are past that 12-week mark, you're going to go to one of these places, Choices for Reproductive Health in Illinois. It's probably a 5-hour drive or maybe more, depending on where you live. I will say that these in-clinic procedures I'm not as familiar with, so you're going to have to call them and get more information clinic by clinic. But if you use this website, all of these clinics are safe sources. What do I mean by that? So that means that they're not going to trick you into trying to keep your pregnancy. They're not going to make you sit there and look at ultrasounds over and over again. Like, these are legitimate reproductive centers that perform abortions. So one of the risks that young people, especially if you're young and you're scared, you don't know what to do, you may go to a clinic that poses as an abortion clinic, but it's actually a place that is like a pregnancy crisis center. They will try to get you to keep the baby that you may not want or you may not be able to have. So I would recommend that wherever you go, just make sure that you find the safest sources possible. So I Need an A is another resource. And then there is another thing that talks about what are the different types of abortions. This is a Planned Parenthood article that you can read. And it basically just says there are medical abortions and surgical abortions. So that's something that you can read up on. You can definitely take a screenshot here if that's some information that you need. And then I'm also going to be talking about this little graphic here. So this basically just shows the different states that no longer allow abortion. Obviously, Alabama is one of them. It's not allowed at all. So while Alabama does not allow abortion, if you go down to Florida here, you'll see that they allow abortion up to 15 weeks since the last menstrual period. And then closest to us would be South Carolina and North Carolina, and also Illinois. So just depending on where you live, if you live in South Alabama, you'd probably go to Florida. If you live in North Alabama, you may consider going to Illinois. So those are some things that you want to factor in. And in terms of the financial impact, I know that it can be expensive to travel and to get to a place where you have to spend the night. There are a lot of funds that can help with that. I definitely recommend reaching out to wherever you can. There's another organization that I'll look at real quick. They are based out of Birmingham. So the Yellowhammer Fund is a nonprofit that works out of Birmingham, and they help with abortion access in Alabama, Mississippi, and in the Deep South in general. Right now, they're only allowed to provide the Plan B pill. The Plan B pill is not an abortion pill. It's something that you can take right after you have unprotected sex. It's not a medical abortion. So those are very different things. People confuse them sometimes. But Yellowhammer Fund is another great resource, and they're a trusted resource that you can be able to talk to. They also provide support to the community. They do a lot, and this is their phone number here, the 205-582-4950. So that is another fund that you can consider. The last thing I'm going to touch on is on Plan C's website. If you do not want to go through an online clinic that mails pills, you can also go to a website that just sells the pills, meaning you will not see a doctor. You will simply have them mailed to you. And one of the things that people worry about is like, is this legitimate? Am I getting real medication? So Plan C actually tests these websites. They have secret shoppers that buy the pills from them, and then they lab test them. So these websites are vetted by Plan C. They're not guaranteed to be legitimate, but this is the closest that you're going to get to saying, okay, this is a safe source. So these are all websites that have been vetted by Plan C. You can go to each one and click on it. One thing that I like about this is if you click more information, they will actually tell you what it was like to make the purchase. Right here it says the charge may be in British pounds, tax included, easy payment by Cash App or PayPal. Another thing that you need to know is that the payment processing is not typical, because this is not a typical operation that is being run. So a lot of the payment processes are like Zelle, Cash App, Bitcoin, things like that. So you may be asked to pay an alternative way, and that is something that is completely normal, although I know it seems kind of sketchy. Just make sure that you go through these vetted resources here, and that you don't just find a website and go about it yourself. I know an idle timer, their website has been vetted by a couple people on Reddit, and then Private Emma, a couple people have vetted that as well. So you may be asking, like, Bella, why are you telling everyone this information? I think this information is something that when you're scared and you're alone and you don't know what to do, I believe that you should have access to the information that you need. I don't think there's any reason that anyone should not have all the facts before they sit down to make probably one of the biggest and hardest decisions of their life. I completely support a woman's right to choose. I don't think there's anything wrong with having an abortion. I don't think you should have to justify it. I don't think that you should feel bad about it. And I don't think that you should be limited access because you live in the state of Alabama. I fully think that you have every right to do what you want to do with your own body. And so I hope that by giving you this information, you've got what you need to move forward, whether your decision is to end your pregnancy or not. That's up to you. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer, and I appreciate everything that you guys do, and I will catch you in the next video. Take care.